everybody. Today we are just going to be doing a little get ready with me. So anywho, we're just going to be doing a little get ready with me. So we're going to start off with my hair, which doesn't need a lot of attention, but I'm just going to brush it out with my favorite wet brush. It does have a ton of hair in it because I use it all the time, but I love this wood grain pattern on it. And whenever I start brushing my hair, I just start from the bottoms to make sure that I get all those knots out first, and then I slowly work my way up. You see me looking over here, it's because that's where my mirror is. So I just brush it out, and then we will do the other side. Again, starting at the bottom, and then moving our way up. Alright, now that we got the tangles out, I am going to move on to my dry shampoo, and that is the SGX NYC dry shampoo. It's called Dry Touch Shampoo, and I love this. I feel like it's a good, reasonably priced dry shampoo, and it is also not in an aerosol can. You can see the powder in it, which I really like, but to use this, it just sprays out like that, and I just kind of lift up my hair and spray it in. It does have, you know, the white, you can see it, especially on my brown hair, but I feel like it disappears pretty quickly after I, brush it out. So I'm just making sure to get it on the roots. And this is plant-based and it's talc-free, which I really like. I like to make sure I get it on the back of my head. I feel like I miss that spot all the time. And then I also just put some on the top. And then I'm gonna go back in with my hairbrush and just make sure I brush it all in. And I also find just kind of like giving a little scrub motion really works. So as you can see, that kind of like dusty, powdery look is disappearing where I sprayed it on the top, and my hair has a lot more volume now. I'm just gonna brush these under sections one more time. So as you can see, my hair has a lot more volume. It looks a lot cleaner, which I definitely love. It gives a little bounce to my bangs here in the front, and I think that product just works so good. Next, I am going to start on my face products. So the next thing that I'm gonna use is this little sponge over here. I love these. They grow in size, so mine is already pre-wet. If you've ever used a base makeup sponge before, you know you kind of have to soak it in water beforehand. I did buy these in a 2-pack, so it's what's linked below, and I think they just apply the makeup very well. So what we're going to be applying to my skin today is going to be the NYX Professional Glazed Soft Glow Skin Tint, and this is in the shade Vanilla Bean Butta, B-U-T-T-A. So I like this. It gives my skin just a little sheen. This color is slightly too dark for my skin tone, just a little bit. I feel like if I wasn't using a translucent powder on top, that would tone it down a little bit if I use like a tinted setting powder. But yeah, I would technically probably need to do the shade below this, which is the lightest shade for my skin, but we will see how it works. So I just squirt out a little bit to start with, and then I use my pre-wet sponge and just damp it in there, and then I start applying. So as you can see, it is a little darker than my skin tone, but it is pretty translucent, and it kind of just creates a nice pretty sheen on your skin, makes it look a little more, you know, alive. Kind of evens out your skin tone. Now, you don't need a makeup sponge to use this. The first couple times that I put it on with my fingers, straight middle school style. So if you don't have a beauty sponge, no need. But it definitely makes it a little bit easier to put on. Then I like to make sure I get it up in my hairline. And I'll just use the list little bit here. Alright, so that is that. Again, this is the NYX Buttermelt Glaze in the shade Vanilla Bean Butter. This guy right here. And then next I'm going to be going in with my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is my holy grail. I've never found a bronzer that I like more than this one. I have a couple, and this one I find just matches my skin tone so good. This one, it just says bronzer on the back. Doesn't have a, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm trying to make it focus. Ooh. Anywho, it doesn't have a specific shade, it just says bronzer on it. So we're gonna go in with this, and then I just like to kind of stamp my brush into it just a few times and then beat it off. This surface of your face is gonna be sticky because, you know, you just put makeup on it and there's no powder on it yet, so just go in with a light hand. And I like to make sure my hair is pulled back so that it blends in and you don't have like that weird, you know, like crease or whatever from your hair. So I just pull that back. And each time my brush is going off screen, I'm just stamping it into the product again and tapping it off. So I like to really focus on this area of my face, but I also go up here on my hairline, and I just focus on the outer edges of my face. Again, this is meant to be pretty natural, so I'm not doing anything too crazy. I'm just accentuating the features that I already have. Make sure to get my jawline and down underneath of my neck. And then I do like to dust a little bit on my nose to just give it like a tan, you know, like sun-kissed look, kind of how people do with blush. But I like to do it on my nose. And then make sure I get my forehead. And I think that looks pretty good. Again, nothing crazy, but again, this is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, one of my all-time favorites, if not my #1 favorite. So next I'm going to go in with my sorry, Revolution Loose Baking Powder. This is translucent, but they do have tinted baking powders. But I just don't care to do the science of, I just want it to be clear. So I'm again going in. I like to take the bottle and dump it into the cap because this has little holes in it, if you can see that, has little holes in it. So then I just tap my brush into it just like I was doing with the bronzer, and then I start underneath my eyes because that is the part that, cracks and cakes the most. And I put a pretty thick amount on there. And then I just stipple it in basically. And I will probably need some more because I am already running out. So again, I'm just going to dump that in there. So then we have this little bit. Stipple that in there again. And then in the other areas that don't crease as much, I basically just do the same motion that I was doing with my bronzer, but I do it with this translucent powder just so that everything gets covered really nice and well. And I'm gonna go over one more time. I feel like I just missed some spots up in this top area and around my eyes. So basically everywhere I put the NYX Glazed Sheer Foundation, I am just going over with this translucent powder from Revolution. And then I just throw that cap back on there and we're all done with that. So after I am done with my base, I like to do my eyebrows. I know there's a certain order that people love to do their stuff, and I just do my stuff out of order. So can you see my little puppy back there? Going the wrong way. There she is. Okay, so for my eyebrows, this is Beat to Death because I use it all the time, but I am using the NYX, what is it called? Professional Makeup Micro Brow Pencil. So it has two ends. This comes with a cap. I'm pretty sure both ends come with a cap, but I have lost both of mine. This is the makeup end. If it comes out. There we go. I had it twisted the wrong direction. So this is the makeup end, and you can twist it out. I usually just keep it about right there, so I have a little bit of product. I know it's kind of hard to see, but keep it right there so I have a little bit of product. And then this end has a spoolie on it. Mine is covered in eyebrow gel. So I use this end to just line my eyebrows, and I'll come in here and I like to use the spoolie on the end to flip my eyebrow hairs upward so I can do the bottom. And basically I just trace around the shape of my eyebrows. And even them out. And then I stop about right here. So where it starts to thin out on the front, I stop there. That just gives me a more natural eye look, less square. But yeah, and then after I have the outline drawn out, I go in and I start at the end and I do little flicking motions, and I start from the front and go to the back the same way that the hairline would go. And again, I'm gonna bring it up to the front on this bottom part, but I'm kind of making a diagonal. I don't want to touch this area up here just because it's so thin and it will look like a Sharpie eyebrow, if you know what I mean. So now that it's filled in and I drew those flicking marks, I'm just going to fluff it out a little bit. I find that this makes the line, that first outline that we did, a little less harsh. Now you can see the difference. This one has not been done yet and it looks a little thin, a little sparse, and then this one just looks more set in its way. And then I'm gonna do this side really quick, just give you another look at it. So again, we're just doing the outline of the eyebrow. And I have not twisted this out to get more product at all. I feel like that little bit is really all that you need. My outline's done, so I'm gonna go do my little flicks up to this little bit right here, and then we're gonna fluff it out again with the spoolie. And now that we have the like color part of the eyebrow filled in, I'm gonna go in with e.l.f.'s brow lift gel. This is just clear, so there's no color in it. I just hope this finds my eyebrows stay in the shape and place that I want them to be in. So sometimes I'll like run my eyebrows and they look like this, where like the hairs are like sticking upright, and I personally don't like the way that looks, so I just use a little bit of this. I take the same NYX spoolie, you can use a different one if you want, but I like the shape of this one, and I just dab it in there, just the end of it. You do not need a lot of this product. I will use that little bit. You can see kind of the reflection on there. I'll use this little bit for both of my eyebrows. So I try and just lightly fluff it on there, and then I'll flip it and put it on this side. And now that it's kind of dispersed, I'll go back in and I'll flip it up. Yeah, that looks crazy, right? And I take the brow spoolie and I kind of just drag it over top, and then I will push down hairs that I don't want as defined. I know it's kind of hard to see, sorry. And I would just shape my eyebrows like that. And then here I can kind of see if there's anything like missing. So right here there's like this little pocket on the underneath, and I'll just fill that in with this pencil since I still have it out. Okay, so this one still has a little bit of gel on it that is not been distributed, so I just fluff it out in the same direction that my eyebrow is going. And then I just drag this over top to kind of tuck those hairs in. So that is what that looks like. Okay, and again, that was the NYX Micro Eyebrow Pencil, and then the e.l.f. Brow Lift Clear Eyebrow Gel. And then now that our eyebrows are done, we are going to go in with our NYX Professional Makeup Angled Liner and Blender. So this is another 2-part makeup tool. One side is going to have this little brush on it. I'm trying to get it somewhat focused. It's gonna have this little brush on it. It's super soft. And then the other side is going to have an eyeshadow pencil on it. So this is meant for your eyes. It's meant for an easy smoky eye look. But I just go in and kind of line the back 3/4 or half of my eye. So I start from the end so I prevent myself from going too far. I'd rather go too far into my eye than too far out of my eye and have some like weird winged smoky thing going on. So I start at the very end of my eye, and then I just kind of line it on there. And I don't do my makeup very often, and this is a thicker pencil. It's not like eyeliner. It's meant to get a lot of product on there. So as you can see, this is pretty chunky right off the bat, but you're gonna smooth it out. So I find that this is a really easy product to use for beginners if that is something that you are. Again, I don't put eyeshadow on a lot. I do a lot of natural looks, and I find that this is a super easy product to use. So again, I'm just gonna start on the end here and then drag it forward, just like that. And I'm gonna bring this one in just a little more. Okay, so now that the product is on there, we're gonna flip over to the other side and use the brush end, and this I am also gonna push inwards to begin with, just so it smooths it out towards the middle of my eye, so we don't have that like chunky line. And then once that beginning part towards the middle or like center of your eye is smoothed out, then I will start smoothing it towards this. And not only am I smoothing it out, I'm also kind of lifting it up so it blends more into a smoky eye rather than just like a line coming off the side of your face. We want to focus on keeping it on your eyelid, not on the side, okay? So we're just going to lift it up, smooth out that line, just like that. So you can see how this one is a lot more contained, and then that one is nice and smoothed out. Okay, so I'm going to try and stay closer to you guys. We'll see how it works. Again, we're starting at the end. I have to switch hands. We're going to push it towards the center of our eye, and this brush is really soft, so you don't have to worry about this hurting your eye. I know some makeup brushes, like regular makeup brushes, hurt my eyes, and this one doesn't. So now that this is pretty smoothed out on the inside, we're gonna start bringing it from the back and lifting it up on higher on the eyelid, just like that. Okay, now it is nice and diffused, dispersed. I'm gonna put that lid back on here so I don't lose it like my other one. And now that this is spread out, I'm gonna go in with my dog just knocked over my plant. Dipper, come on. Come on, out of there. Right here. Thank you. Okay, hold on 1 second. Oh my gosh. Okay, technical difficulties, I'm so sorry. Ooh. Okay, I just turned around my plant so it wouldn't fall over again. But anyways, now that we have our smoky eye moved around, spread out, we're gonna go in with the NYX Professional Makeup Jumbo Highlighter. This is an eyeliner pencil. It's technically like a crayon type of product, but it is huge. Product is huge. This is my finger. So it is definitely a chunky one. This is the color Cottage Cheese. What a great name. And I just like to use this in the corner of my eyes. So I go in right here. I just go in the corner of my eyes. Underneath here just a little bit, if you can see that sheen. And then I also go up on top just to bring some light in on the top here, if you can see that sparkle. And I take my finger and I just blend it in to that eyeshadow that we just put on. Then I just do some final touches. So that is what that looks like. I feel like it just opens up my eye a little bit. You can even smooth this out a little bit if it's too much for you. But yeah, that's the difference that it makes. I feel like this eye just looks so much wider and brighter now compared to this one. So I'm going to do the same exact thing on this eye. And just blend it out. This one needs some more. So yeah, that is what that is looking like. And again, this is the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Cottage Cheese. And now that that is done, that's basically all I do whenever I do my natural looks. I just like to emphasize my eyes a little bit. So now that is done, we are gonna go in with our mascara. But before I do my mascara, I like to use my eyelash curler. This is one of my favorite ones. It's the Revlon Curl Extra Curl Eyelash Curler. Lots of curls, lots of eyelashes. But I'm just going to insert my eyelash in between the pad and the metal part, and then I'm gonna give it a few pulses. I know my eye probably looks so weird. That is what that looks like. It's kind of hard to see, but you can definitely tell the inner corner of these eyelashes are much easier to see than these that are sticking straight out. So I'm just gonna go in and do it on my second one. And again, I do little pulses and then I do one long clamp. So now that that's done, we're gonna go in with our with our mascara. This is the Big Bad Lash by Revlon. This has been my favorite mascara since freshman year of college. My roommate put me onto it. I like to do 2 coats, and this is a waterproof mascara. And I find that it holds for so long. I am a girly that doesn't like to take her makeup off, and this will last me a few days if you're crummy like I am. But again, I like to do 2 coats, and I kind of do like this scrubbing motion. I don't know if that makes sense, but I put it on there and scrub back and forth as I move the brush up. And then for my outer lashes, I take the tip of the applicator and I just pull up to make sure those outer lashes are getting covered. And again, I like to do 2 coats with this, but I will bounce back and forth. So this is the difference between my eyes. This one has mascara, this one does not. And I feel like the brown smoky eye that we did really helps with that appearance of having more eyelashes or like thicker eyelashes. But again, I'm just doing like that scrubbing motion back and forth and using the tip of the applicator to get into the nooks and crannies that we can't normally get. I'll also do that on this inner corner. And then I'm gonna go back and do my second coat now. Same motions, I just like to. I've done this my entire life, no matter the mascara. So yeah, that is what that looks like with it on. I really like the shape of this. It's kind of like dips in the middle, and I feel like that helps cover more at once. Now that is done, we're gonna do some setting spray, and this is the e.l.f. 45 Broad Spectrum Sunscreen Setting Spray. I find it's important to have SPF in my stuff. I forgot to mention, but this glazed NYX skin tint does have 30 SPF in it, which is another reason that I got this. So altogether, you're like layering up sunscreen. I find that very important. So yeah, I just spray this on, and I do like to have a little something to dry it, fan it. So I'm just gonna spray it on. Does anybody else hold their breath whenever they do setting spray? Anybody else? So yeah, easy as that. I just spray it on. Again, this is the e.l.f. All Set for Sun. It's a setting spray with sunscreen in it. and I love that just so I know I am all covered whenever it comes to protecting my skin and keeping my makeup on all day. And then afterwards, just for a final touch, I put a little bit of lip gloss on, and this is Lanolips 101 ointment. It's the mint scent. One thing I like about these is it's not a flavor. You can't taste any of their scents in your mouth whenever you put it on. I know I have a problem when it comes to lip glosses. If they have flavor in them, I'm licking them all off my lips. It's not gonna have any benefit to my lips because it tastes so good. This helps me prevent doing that. It does, you know, smell good. Your nose can smell the mint, which I really like. And it's clear, so I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Mine's like almost all gone because I love it so much. I got a bunch of these for my birthday. This one is at its end, but I'm gonna get some out. There we go. So that is what it looks like. It looks like just a regular lip balm whenever it comes out, but it's super shiny. Super shiny. They have other ones that have tints in them. They also have a lip scrub, and this is called the 101 Ointment Multi Balm Minty, which technically means you can use it on different parts of your body. I also have their skin balm and am looking to buy some more of their flavors, but I love this because it has lanolin in it, which is a naturally occurring compound, chemical, whatever, but it's in a lot of nursing moms products because of how chapped it makes nursing mom's skin, and they decided to put it into this to help nourish and kind of moisturize your lips since they also get extremely dry during the winter. I use this all year round though. It's one of my absolute favorite products. I again said I got this for my birthday. I got 4 tubes of it for my birthday because I need them. They're almost all gone. I love them. This does last me extremely long. Again, my tube is drained and I'm gonna get every last drop out of there. But, one thing I do have to mention is this does melt whenever it's warm. So be careful. It works perfectly fine. Nothing changes in the quality whenever it's warm, except for that it's a little runnier, which I like because I feel like I have to use less product. And in the winter, it does get cold. So whenever it's cold, it gets harder. I honestly put it in my armpit or in between my legs for a little bit, and it warms it up and loosens up the product, making it easier to get out of the tube. So those are the only downsides, but either way, it being warm or cold doesn't affect the quality of the product, in my opinion, and it also doesn't affect the benefits that I get out of it. So yeah, that's all I have for today. Yeah, I hope you guys tune back in another time, and hopefully you guys found some good products for you to use. I highly suggest this, and all of the products that I've used today, I use them on a daily basis and I love them. So yeah, have a good day.